Hello and welcome to How to Play Battleship, presented by GatherTogetherGames.com. This video will cover how to play the game Battleship. The video will start with the general concepts and gameplay, and then get into more of the details for the game. The game is played with two players sitting across from each other, so they are unable to see each other's grids. Each player will have a battleship game unit with 5 ships, white pegs and red pegs. The ships are the destroyer, the submarine, the cruiser, the battleship, and the carrier. The game units have a top grid and a bottom grid. Players will position their 5 ships on the bottom grid anywhere they like, vertically or horizontally. The object of the game is to sink all your opponent's ships. A ship will occupy spaces on the grid that are represented by a letter and a number. Players take turns calling out grid spaces looking to hit a ship. A ship is sunk when all holes on the ship have been hit. Players decide who goes first. Blue will start this game by calling out a coordinate. A coordinate consists of a letter A through J, which represents the rows on the grid, and a number 1 through 10, which represents the columns on the grid. Blue calls out G4. Red will locate G4 on the bottom grid and respond hit or miss depending on if part of a ship occupies that space. Red locates G4 and it's empty. Red responds miss. Players will keep track of their guesses on their top grid with white pegs for misses and red pegs for hits. Blue will place a white peg in the G4 for the miss. Play moves to Red, who calls out a coordinate. Red calls C3. Blue locates C3 and finds part of his submarine occupies that space. Blue responds hit submarine and will put a red peg into the ship where it was hit. Red will place a red peg in the top grid C3 space for the hit. Play moves back to Blue, who calls out J8. Red locates J8 and announces hit, destroyer. Red marks the hit, and Blue marks the hit. Play returns to Red, who calls out C4. Blue locates C4 and responds miss. Red marks the miss. Blue calls L8 next. Red locates L8 and announces hit. This hit fills all the holes in the destroyer. Once all the holes of a ship are hit, the ship sinks. Red announces, "You sunk my destroyer." Blue marks the hit and places a red peg into the top of the game unit that represents the sunken ship. Play moves back to Red and players continue to take turns. Skipping ahead in the gameplay, Blue calls out C9. Red responds hit and "You sunk my submarine." Blue has sunk all of Red's ships and has won the game. A ship's placement cannot cause part of the ship to be off the grid. A ship cannot overlap another ship in the same space, and a ship cannot be placed diagonally. Once the game begins, all ships must stay where they are and cannot be moved. That wraps up How to Play Battleship. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, and get more game tutorials by subscribing to our channel, Gather Together Games. Thanks for watching.